Hi, Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs. I'm Monick Halm. I'm the founder of Real Estate Investor Goddesses, and I'm going to be leading this Facebook Live today, talking about how to create passive income streams through real estate, even as a busy female entrepreneur. So, you all have your businesses, and maybe you are in the feast or famine part of real estate, or feast or famine part of your business. And if, like, sometimes the money's coming in and sometimes it's not, or maybe you have money coming in more steadily, but you don't know how to invest it or what to do with it. Um, or you want to be able to leave a legacy or not have to work so hard all the time. And so real estate investing can be a great way to really help ease the feast or famine parts of being a business entrepreneur. It can help you not have to rely solely on your business. Just getting these extra income streams can ease the path for a female entrepreneur, and you don't have to do it full time. It doesn't have to be another job. So this is what I want to share with you today. Just some of the ways to think about real estate investing. Just that I want to share the formula for real estate investing as a woman. So I have a formula, a 7-part formula called the wealthy formula. Each letter stands for a part of how you build wealth through real estate as a woman, and then share how you can do that in ways that are not going to take a lot of time, because as entrepreneurs are really busy, but there are ways in which you can start investing and you can get passive income streams, getting your money working for you instead of you having to work for your money. A lot of us go into becoming entrepreneurs because we want freedom, we want time freedom, and it doesn't always work that way, right? Like, you're working so hard, and real estate investing can just be a tool to give you these added streams of income that can free up more of your time, free up your energy, so that you can maybe hire more team members and you can expand and you can have a real business that's not only dependent on you. So that's what I love about real estate investing. Just a little bit about me and my background. I'm the founder of Real Estate Investor Goddesses. Now I'm an educator and advocate for women to create passive income streams through real estate. My personal mission is to help 1 million women create financial freedom through real estate. And for me, financial freedom means that you have passive income streams that exceed your active income stream. And when I'm talking about active income streams, I'm talking about you working for a client and you're trading your time for money. That's active income. Even if you're self-employed, you're working for yourself. So my goal is to help 1 million women create passive income streams, so that your money is working for you and not the opposite way around. And but that's not how I started. I didn't start as an entrepreneur either. I'm a first generation American. My parents are from Haiti. Great parents, always taught me I could be anything I wanted, though in parentheses, as long as I was a doctor, lawyer, professor, or engineer, because for them that was what success was. And I was a dutiful daughter and good student, so I ended up going to law school, becoming a lawyer. Hated law. I was miserable as a lawyer, and so miserable. Just give you a quick example. At one point, it was like Tuesday morning, and I went to the hospital with this excruciating pain in my stomach. And when I got to the ER, the doctor told me that my appendix had ruptured and that I would have to be in the hospital for several days and at least 30 days afterwards to recover. And my first thought was, oh, thank God I don't have to go to work, which was bad. And then my second thought was, that's really bad. Like, if I knew I was unhappy, I didn't know quite how unhappy I was until that moment, when being in the hospital was preferable to being at work. So I ended up then going and like figuring out that I had to to find another plan. And I ended up actually, I fell into real estate by accident. I went to buy a house for myself, which was the only thing I'd ever been taught about real estate. Not to be an investor, but just to buy your own house. And I couldn't afford anything in Los Angeles at the time because LA is very expensive. And this was 2005, it was still 14 years ago. I was looking at 600, 700,000 for a house. And even though I was working as a lawyer, I couldn't afford that by myself. So I ended up partnering with a friend to get a duplex. He was gonna live on one side, I was gonna live on the other. We ended up finding a property that one side was much nicer than the other. So we decided we would each take a bedroom in that one, and we rented out the other unit. There was a converted garage we could rent out. We even rented out our basement. And then I realized, like, wait, these people are paying my mortgage. I thought not only did I have a house and tax benefits, but now I was also able to have some extra money coming in. When I met my husband, he had a duplex, and we ended up buying a house together, another single family rental, and then we started flipping after the economy crashed. And then we ended up bringing groups of investors together to purchase properties starting in 2016. And now we have over 1,200 units all over the US. We have apartment buildings, mobile home parks, RV park, and commercial, single family rentals. We have a bunch of different types of properties. So I have a lot of real estate. But one of the things that I realized when I was in this, like going and learning about real estate and how to do it, because I was always the more I got into it, the more I learned, and the more I learned, the more I found out I needed to learn and how important it was to get educated in real estate investing. And when I would go to all of these conferences and trainings, 90-95% of the room would be men. Often it was not unusual for me to be the only woman or one of only 2 or 3 women in the room. And I've always been really passionate about helping or working with women in between doing law and becoming a full-time real estate investor. I became a coach, and I was a abundance coach for women. We started as a career coach and morphed into abundance coaching. So I worked a lot with women around money and changing their money conversation, which was something that I had to do for myself because I had a good income. I did not have good money habits, managed to make a lot and spend it all and then some. So I had to change that. And as I changed it, I started getting clients that I was helping with that. But I went into real estate investing. I went like, wow, this is the way that people can really build wealth in this country. And it's so good for women because, it gives you time freedom. So not only are you're able to have a really good income, but it's income that's not tied to your time. You don't have to trade your time for money. And I think for female entrepreneurs, so many of us come into this because we want time freedom, right? I think a lot of us, if you ask, like, why are you becoming an entrepreneur? Why are you working for yourself? A lot of us, the first thing we'll say is we want freedom. But how is that working out for you? How free do you feel? Like, I often found that I would feel like a slave to my job. Like, if I didn't hustle and grind, then the money wouldn't come in. And real estate gave me that freedom. And so I want to just share with you some things about real estate investing. But before I share my formula for successfully investing in real estate, I want to just talk about some of the myths, because a lot of people won't go into real estate, or they're not, they are staying a lot smaller than they need to be because of these myths. And these are all things that I thought and I had learned throughout the years that are just not true. And so for the first thing is, a lot of people are taught that first you need to buy your own house before you can invest in real estate. Like, okay, and I get that all the time. Say, oh yeah, I'd love to invest in real estate, but first I'm going to buy my house and then I'm going to do that. If you guys, are any of you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Well, in the chat, a lot of us get into real estate investing because of that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I saw a check. So, if you read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you learn that the difference between an asset and a liability. And an asset, regardless of what the bank says, per that is what puts money into your pocket. And a liability is what takes money out of your pocket. Your home is a liability. Like rental properties that are putting money into your pocket are assets. So a lot of people think that they have to first buy that liability, their home, and then they can invest in real estate, but you don't have to. My first property was my home because that's all I'd been taught, to just buy your home. Nobody ever taught me anything about real estate investing. But it ended up being an asset because I had all these, parts that I could rent out, and it was making me money. But, I have mentors that have tens of millions of dollars worth of real estate, and maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate, and they rent. And they're renting their home because they want to put their money into assets. So that's one myth. And then the other side of that is that you have to start small. You have to start, there's like the monopoly thinking, right? You have to have one little house, and you can get another little house, or first you have to wholesale, then you can flip, and then you can, but you don't have to start that way. You can actually start bigger. So that's one of the myths. The second myth is that it's going to take a lot of time and money, or money. So we're, as entrepreneurs, are probably pretty darn busy. And I'm also a mom of 3 kids. If you're a mama as well, you might have a significant other. Maybe your entrepreneurship is a side hustle. You have another job. So you're like, I don't have the time to do this, right? Or I don't, like, my money, a lot of my extra money is going into this, into my business. Or so how much money do I actually need? And especially if you live in an expensive market like I do in LA, you think, God, I need a fortune to invest in property. Well, I just want to tell you that there are a lot of ways to play in this game. Some require very little time. So one of the things that I do, I bring groups of investors together, and they are passive investors. They buy a share of our business that owns the property. We're just, we have apartment buildings. So you'll put in some of the money, and you own a piece of this apartment building, and then the property is running, and you get cash flow from that. And tax benefits, and you own a piece of the property. So that's one way to invest with no time. So there are all these types of passive investments or turnkey investments, things that require very little time. And then there are other investments that require relatively little money. Now, I'm going to say that they often are not necessarily the same thing, right? So often with the totally passive investments, you do need to have some money to invest. And with the very little to no money down investments, then it might take a bit of your time. Although there are some ways to invest even in passively, some funds with low minimums to come in. So you can get into this. You can do it for a little bit of money. And it makes so much more sense than having your money sitting in a bank account making 1% if you are lucky, because you'll never be able to get free from that. So the way to get really financially free is to have your money working for you, not you working for your money. Another myth is that you can do this alone, and real estate really is a team sport. It's something that you need a good team for. And the better your team, and if you can partner with other people, and you work with smart people that are good at what they do, then you can go a lot further, a lot faster. And then last but not least, there's this myth that if you have extra money, it should go into the stock market, and that is a much better or safer investment than real estate. And I think that's a myth that's generally that a lot of stockbrokers and people that get commission from putting you into stocks will tell you, or people who just don't know better. But with real estate, there are a lot of benefits from it, that you just don't get with stocks. You'll get, if you're investing well, you're going to get passive cash flow that can come to you every month or every quarter, without you having to, once you put in a tenant, they're going to pay whether you're sleeping or vacationing or doing your other business. And that's passive, and you're often not going to get that. With real estate, there's cash, like amazing, crazy tax benefits. So this is something that's really important for entrepreneurs to know, that, money that you make through your rental property is taxed less than the money that you're going to make when you're self-employed. You're actually can be making the same amount of money. You have 50,000 of, self-employment income and 50,000 of rental income. The rental income will be taxed, like, often it's not even taxed because of the way the tax code is. It's like it shows up as a loss in your on your taxes, and then but your self-employment income will be taxed highly. So for all of those reasons, real estate makes a lot of sense for women entrepreneurs. So I want to share with you really briefly the wealthy formula, the 7-step formula for women to get invested in real estate. And then I'll share some of the ways in which you can invest passively with little time, because I know as busy female entrepreneurs, you want to know, it's like, how can I get my money working for me and I don't have to keep working really hard at it. So I want to share some ways in which you can do it without, like, maybe not having to deal with the tenants, toilets, termites, and having a whole other job. So the wealthy formula, it's WEALTHY. All right. W stands for womanly, because we as women are different when it comes to money and investing in general from men. It's more than just like, we are different on a biological chromosomal level for men, and we function differently, or we function a lot better if we follow the more womanly, feminine path versus the masculine way. Although unfortunately, we're often taught the masculine way. And this is something that's really useful for anything that you try to do. And I call it the goddess secret sauce. So the goddess secret sauce is 4 main parts, and it starts with your desire. So what's your desire around real estate? And I'd love, you're listening, just share, like, why might you be interested? There's a lot of people that just want the passive income, or maybe you want the tax benefits, or to leave a legacy for your family. Whatever that is, you start with that desire. And then you add the 4 parts of the secret sauce. And the first part is pleasure, because, the masculine way is to man up and muscle through and work really hard and no pain, no gain. And for women, we do so much better through pleasuring through, figuring out how to make something feel good and be more fun. So I find that whenever I'm beating my head against the wall and I feel like totally stuck, it's like, I need a pleasure break. And I'll do a dance break, or I'll take a bubble bath, or go get a mani-pedi, or have a quickie with my husband. We both work from home, so we can do that. So all of that really, really helps, like, ease the way. And that's part of the goddess secret sauce. So that's the first part of the wealthy, W. E, the other parts of the secret sauce is your intuition. So following that woman's intuition that we have. And then having the right mindset, because so much of our success is about the thoughts we believe, and having mindset that supports our success. And the 4th part is sisterhood. So for women, we are really wired to be in sisterhood. You guys are here, part of Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs. You get that, like that, the beauty of women coming together. Well, literally, like, when we cut together groups of women, we release oxytocin, like our bodies are wired for it. So that's W. E is education. So education is so important for real estate. It's often what you don't know that can hurt you. And real estate, it tends to be big numbers. So you don't want to make mistakes, and mistakes can be very costly and expensive. So the better your education, the better your results. And not just better results, but the more I've gotten educated, the more I've realized all of the opportunities that are out there that I couldn't even see because I just didn't know that they were there. I didn't even know that existed. And when I learned about being this thing of bringing investors together to invest in real estate, I used to always think I was limited to my own capital and credit. And then when I learned about like what I can bring groups of investors together, I could get 100 or 200 unit apartment building. We're buying right now a 664 unit apartment building. It's a $66 million project. I could not do that alone, but with a group of people, yes, we can do that. And then so education. L is about location. It's about the market, like finding, they say, what are the top 3 rules of real estate? Number 1, location. Number 2, location. Number 3, location. So your market, where the city that you buy in, the sub-market, the neighborhood that you buy, will make all the difference in terms of your success. So that's really important to know what factors to look for. The T is your team, like having a great team to support you, your brokers, your lenders, your contractors and maintenance professionals and insurance and attorneys. Is a whole long list of people that you need, but that team, and it depends on how you're investing. If you're doing passive investments, then you probably just need a CPA and maybe an attorney to look at some of the documents, but it's generally that's not much that's required of you in that way. But the more active you are, the better, the more of a team you'll need. H is how you pay. So a lot of people, they just know that they know about like their own capital and credit and going to a bank and getting a mortgage, but there are actually a lot of different ways of investing in real estate. And so you can do it with these little to no money down strategies if you know all of the different ways to go, or you can partner with other people, or you can do seller financing and different types of lenders. So there's a lot of variety in how you can invest and be creative. And then the Y is you, because real estate investing is not one size fits all. It's very, there are a lot of different ways to play depending on your desires. And so partly it's about figuring out where do you want to end up? How do you want the journey to go? What are your current resources available to you, and how you can be creative and more resourceful to get from where you are to where you want to be in the way you want to go. So that's the wealthy formula. And I'm seeing some of you join. And hi, Denise. Hi, Daciana. Hi, Patricia, Louise, Maggie. And so before I end up, and if you guys have any questions, then Daciana said, I agree. Education mindset are the basis. I like you. And yes, the feminine. I like you too. Thank you. And I just want to share some passive ways to invest that are low time, because as women entrepreneurs, probably time is at a premium for you. So there are different ways to invest where you can get in the game for relatively little time. And, generally, if you're going to buy something and put in a tenant and hold it, it doesn't take that much time for me. Even if you are the landlord, I have the duplex here in LA. Pretty much everything I own, I don't manage myself, with the exception of my one duplex here in LA. And but maybe I deposit checks once a month, and using my phone. I don't even have to go to the bank anymore. And maybe once or twice a year max, I have a maintenance call to deal with. So it's relatively low time once you buy the property. But there are ways of doing it that are even less time than that. You don't even have to go find the property yourself. So one is to passively invest in a syndication. So that's when groups of investors come together to buy a bigger property, like apartment buildings or commercial projects, just bigger commercial projects. So once you invest and have your portion in that, then it's just like having you have a share in that business, and so you put in the money and you wait for it to come back with friends. So that's one way. So syndication, passive investor. Another way to invest in real estate without taking much of your time, if any, to do something called a turnkey investment. So turnkey investments are investments, so say you might buy a turnkey house. So if you have a turnkey house, then when you buy it, it's already been fixed up. There's a tenant in place. They're already paying rent. There's property management there. You don't have to do anything with that house other than, you bought it, it's in your name, but it's just, the investment is being run for you. And there are other types of turnkey investments. There's farmland. I mean, any type of business can be that way, but you own it yourself. You're the only owner. You're not owning it as a group, but it's turnkey and it's no work from you. So that's a really great option for female entrepreneurs. Another way is with these funds like REITs or different funds that are available. We're actually creating a fund right now called the Goddess Fund, which is it'll be geared to female entrepreneurs, female investors, not entrepreneurs, but the fund will invest in majority women-run real estate projects. And giving back a return, but it'll be a low investment amount of only $1,000. So that is, there are different funds available that way, and that you can get into the game for a relatively little bit of money, but have your money working for you. And then, oh my gosh, I had one more for you, and I totally blanked. Yikes! What was that one? Turnkey, syndication, funds. Oh, buy and hold. I did talk about all four. So those are, another one, tax liens. So tax liens, tax deeds, are actually just about to do a course talking about that. But tax liens, you're basically, when people don't pay their property taxes, the states will sometimes sell the lien on the property that they have, or they'll have the lien and then they'll sell the deed, and that's a way to get paid a pretty good return on investment from your house. And the tax collector is the one that is in charge of collecting your money, which is pretty cool. So that's a good, pretty passive way to do it. Where you can get invested in property for fairly low investment amounts and fairly passively. So you have to, go look online and find the property and bid on it. But once you have it, it's pretty low time requirement. So all of those are different ways in which, ladies, you can get into real estate, even as a busy female entrepreneur, because I want so much for you guys to feel free. I know still a lot of you have come into becoming an entrepreneur. You decide to become an entrepreneur because you wanted freedom. You wanted time freedom. And it doesn't always work that way unless you find other ways for your money to be working for you, and not you just trading your time for money even to other clients. So I think for those reasons and the amazing tax benefits and the legacy it can help you leave for your family, real estate is a great option, and I hope that you explore it. I have a free Facebook community called Real Estate Investor Goddesses. So we have a private community. So there's a public page, and there's a private group called Real Estate Investor Goddesses, private group. Also, you can go to my website, reigoddesses.com, and I have some different freebies and a blog, and there's a investor club. That's a free club that you can join to get access to different passive investing opportunities. If you have some money that you would like to have working for you, we find and vet deals and bring them, and my goal is to bring them to women, because typically you need to have a relationship with somebody in order to be able to offer them that type of deal, and those deals have traditionally just gone to men. And so my goal is to have more women being able to invest in real estate. So go to reigoddesses.com, join our investor club, and just join the community if you want to learn more. I would love to support each and every one of you to build financial freedom through real estate. All right. I think I have half an hour, so I'm going to say goodbye. If I have no questions here, thank you all for coming. That's awesome. Bye-bye.